This is the future.
Thank you, Mohini and Deepak, for inviting me. When Deepak called me and said he's hosting this event and he wanted me to come and speak, I said, why me? This seems like a cybersecurity event. He said, did you forget that cybersecurity is also linked with data privacy? I said, yeah, you're right. So what is it that you want me to talk about? So he said, just come and talk whatever you know about. So, all right, why data privacy? And how is data privacy linked with cybersecurity and synthetic fraud? So if your PII data gets stolen, and that's how synthetic fraud happens. And how is that possible? So if your Aadhaar card number, your PAN card number, your voter ID, your home address, your email, your phone number, your name, all of these get breached. The hackers, what they do is they write the AI program. The AI program creates millions and millions of false identities, which are called Frankenstein identities. And using Frankenstein identities, you can create a fake credit card. You can also create, you can create fake credit cards. You can do wire fraud. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay. So you can do wire fraud, you can do credit card fraud, you can open fake bank accounts, you can do all kinds of fraud. In 2023, $3 trillion were taken using synthetic fraud. And what is that? By creating fake identities, fraudsters are able to open bank accounts, they steal money, and they move it through these fake accounts. So nobody is able to track them, and that is where data privacy comes very handy. If we are able to protect the PII data, and even though the data breach may happen, so they will not be able to get access to the Aadhaar card or the PAN card number or the individual's identity. So if we can protect the identity, we are able to stop synthetic fraud, which is also called cybercrime. Right. 20 years back, both data privacy and cybersecurity became relevant. Most of the companies around the world, they said, well, I'm going to invest more on cybersecurity. So if I create layers of security, nobody will be able to breach and they can't see my data. But today what's happening with COVID, explosion of data, digitization of data, more and more data is now easy to hack into. So the more hackings that are possible, and if you watch the news around the world, more than 5 to 6 major breaches happen on a weekly basis nowadays. And each one cost about $10 million to identify, to remedy, and to contain it. Whereas the fines in data privacy fines now running into billions of dollars around the globe. So companies now in India have to pay somewhere in the range of $40 million if the DPDP Act requirements are not met, which is directly related to data privacy compliance. So why data privacy compliance is important is actually to deter or to reduce data breaches. If the data at source is protected, less and less of such breaches will happen because the hackers will also come to know that now I cannot get the data. So no point in trying to steal this data or trying to breach through this data. Okay, in 2019, you can see one individual could be identified by 219 records or elements. By end of 2025, it will go to about 1,800 records. So each company now that are doing something or not doing anything, by the end of 2025, will need to protect 1,800 different elements of data that is associated with an individual. So it's a ticking time bomb. Whoever has already started or is already doing something, they have a kind of head start. But any company that is not doing anything is going to deal with this kind of issues in 2025. In 2021, globally, the data privacy fines on companies were in the range of $10 billion. Now they have crossed $25 billion in 2023. And you can see the largest is $10 billion. So how many companies can sustain if they don't implement a data privacy compliance solution? And these are some of them, but more than 300 companies that are large companies around the globe. 30 plus different countries have now adopted data privacy compliance. It originated in European Union as GDPR, then it went to North America. Now India has DPDP, Singapore has PDPA, Middle East has NESA, which is also a data privacy compliance requirement. So synthetic fraud, you can see when they breach the data, they have access to our data. Writing AI algorithms can create millions of fake identities, and those fake identities are able to create synthetic fraud losses. Globally, $3 trillion were lost in 2023. So why did we start the company? So our intent is, if this is me, and my name is Sudhir Sahu, and all my data is available here. You can see my social security number, you can see my home address, you can see my credit card number, date of birth, and if there is a breach, then synthetic fraud will happen, cybercrime will happen. But if I apply this technology that we have developed, then this is a human bubble. This is not me anymore. So if I replace myself with this human bubble, and the cybersecurity breach does happen, what they will see is this human bubble, not the actual data. That's the technology that we have developed that is now helping companies across North America, European Union, Singapore, Middle East, and now we just recently entered India with the advent of DPDP Act. We are now trying to bring our products to India. We already have a made in India product available that would be soon implemented for banks, healthcare companies, and defense industries, etc. So how did we develop this product? We call it ID redact, meaning the identity of the individual we are redacting in certain environments within the company's infrastructure. Let's say downstream application, upstream applications, archived applications, etc., where this data sits, those are not getting the attention of the highest possible prioritization for cybersecurity protection. Since the system of record gets the highest protection, the downstream applications don't get the same amount of protection. So the hackers generally target the downstream applications, training environment, sandbox, testing environment, DevOps, etc. Or a business group wants to analyze certain data and they bring it to an upstream environment, and they are trying to assess this data, and they leave it there. If it is left there, the hacker will go there and find the data and steal it. So what we have done is found a way to apply this technique or the technology that shields the identity of that individual. So all of that information within the infrastructure is still available, but if there is a breach, then they won't be able to see it. This is the architecture of how this product has been built in the last 5 years. A heavy use of artificial intelligence because regular technology will not be able to scale. There are real-time systems, historical systems, individual systems. There is network access, there is data in motion, there are unstructured data, semi-structured data, structured data, etc. And to be able to scale to that kind of level, we used our own technology, which is developed, and we call it the cognizable computing engine. That's a patented technology. That technology helps in achieving the solution that we have today. This is our team. Many of us claim that we are stalwarts of the industry, but the product is built by this guy. He has 14 AI patents around the world. His books are sold on Amazon. His books are also in the syllabus within the school system, college systems here in India, South Korea, Japan, China, and many countries. So he's the star who has built this product, and he's based in Bangalore here in India. So while we are a US-based company, we had to rely on India to build this product. These are our products. We started with a data center product. We then partnered with Microsoft to bring the products onto the cloud platform. We can make our products available within 2 weeks in the most complex environment to 1 week, which is if it is a small to medium-sized business. And there are also e-commerce and developer products that can be implemented within an hour to one day. This is one of the example of a bank. It's a regional bank in US. And when we did the privacy impact assessment for them, and we showed the results, the roadmap, etc., that the gap analysis that we did, they realized that they would have paid 100+ millions in fines if they would not have implemented our product. So subsequently, we worked with them to implement our product, and we were able to help save them hundreds of millions of dollars. It is not just the loss of money. A bank might be able to afford it depending on what's the largest size of the bank, but also the customer confidence that gets lost. Every customer that comes to know that this bank has not implemented something to protect my data, or this bank got breached, more and more people might move from this bank to a different bank. So by implementing a product like this, helps a bank also increase the customer confidence, which in return increases your revenue also. We also have use cases for healthcare industry, retail, technology, government, defense, anywhere there is confidential data. Now, confidential data is a combination of PII, PHI, which is protected health information. There is also sensitive data, which is a server name or a host name or a IP address, etc., that also gets tracked on a regular basis. And it's non-sensitive like race, religion, gender, a host of that kind of data that also should be protected. This is a POC process that we do for each customer to help them identify where are their gaps, where is the highest probability of the breach. Because we do the confidential data discovery, we know which system, where in the infrastructure you have the highest amount of PII or PHI data, and then how to solve that. So in the next 5 years, 5 billion people will be impacted by data privacy breaches, meaning the hackers will come up with newer and newer techniques to be able to hack the data. So if nothing is done, 5 billion people out of 7+ billion people around the world who use some kind of a digital technology will be exposed to it. In the next 5 years, 5 million enterprises around the world will need to implement a solution because the culture has changed. Today, if you bank with SBI or ICICI or some other bank here in India, 10 years back or 5 years back, the bank owned the data. Even though it's your data, the bank used to own the data. With data privacy compliance and DPDP Act, which is part of it, now my data, I am the owner of it. I will tell the bank how they should be using our data, what preferences I have, can they sell my data to a third-party source or not, can they share my data with a wholly owned subsidiary or not. These are customer preferences. Now the individual has the option to decide what to do with their data, what not to do with their data. So because of that, the culture is changing. It's a shift, and that shift brings companies like us into existence. So thank you so much for giving me the time and the opportunity to talk about Datasafeguard.